Hey guys, welcome back to Lads and Pharaohs. I'm Sajuuk, and we're going to be heading on into the next adventure of the Cleopatra missions. We're on the third one, Ancient Conquerors, in the last part where he completed Ramses in the Valley and built his grand burial tomb. But it's going to be a bit of a different adventure. This one's quite a short one actually, for various reasons which we'll go into later. But here we are, Ancient Conquerors. Egypt has many envious neighbours, and they look upon our rich empire the way a hyena pack crowds a lion's kill. Can you build a command, the armies and fleets necessary to defeat these serious threats and defend the Nile Delta against excessive invasions by the Sea People, Assyrians and Persians? Egypt looks to you for protection. Indeed, we will be protecting Egypt. Let's head to the first mission.
The rumblings of distress and discontent to the west have become more ominous recently. Scouts report that several barbarian tribes speaking strange tongues have arrived on the shores of Cyrenaica to our west. To make matters worse, these peoples now walk hand in hand with Mariac, the son of Deed, king of the Libyans and Pharaoh's enemy. Word has now reached Pharaoh Meneptah that these vile people, with all their women, children and worldly possessions close behind, will soon be headed eastward toward the fertile Nile Delta, our homeland, in search of a place to settle. Already there have been minor clashes at the northern oasis of Siwi and Pharaoh. Your delta town of Pi-Yer now stands in their way. In a short while, this slow-moving band of savages could be on your doorsteps. Pharaoh has decreed that should they arrive, they must not be allowed to penetrate further. You will need to import wood from which to construct sturdy warships and copper for weapons. It is your fortune that the previously troublesome Hittites are now peaceful, thanks to the great victory at Kadesh by Ramses II, sire of the beloved Meneptah. Make your town strong, and brace your loyal troops for mortal combat.
Indeed, we're going to be fighting a little bit in the Ancient Conquerors campaign. In fact, all three missions are military missions, so you're going to have to get your military hat on for this one. Pi-Yer, the Sea People land, apparently, even though it's in the Nile Delta, but never mind. 2,500 population, culture 25, kingdom rating of 45, bit of prosperity, and of course a housing required. 5 modest apartments is quite low. You only need to get up to past beer level. Looks as if we can't seem to cut timber here, even though this is the Nile Delta. We have to import the wood and timber, the wood and the copper rather. Yeah, we'll just continue on hard mode. Let's head to the city. Pause and have a look around. So we start here on this absolutely tiny map. So here's the Kingdom Road. Apparently we can't cut these trees. The Egyptians have forgotten to cut wood. How to cut wood rather. Lots of floodplain though, that's good. But there's very little space. Only a small amount of coastal area to build what we're going to need. Docks. Possibly a crossing point because there is some reeds on this map. So we could probably make papyrus, but we can't build educational structures anyway, so we're not going up that high. What else have we got? We've got grain and chickpeas, so that's very weird. We could only get to modest apartment, we can't get to the 2 types of food goal, but there's 2 types of food, so quite likely there are going to be requests for these items, so we will have to grow some of this. Clay pits and reeds gatherers, so we can't make barley, but we do need to get beer, so we're going to probably have to import that from a trade partner. Infantry and archers, and no courthouse, so actually the modest apartment goal for this mission is you have to get the highest level housing on this map, so it's not going to be too easy. Osiris and Seth, and Osiris is the patron. Okay, let's have a look at the world map. What a mess. This is a lot of trade routes here. So here we are at Pi-Yer. Now Cairene, how they call it Cyrenaica because that's the classical name for it, this will shut down. They are effectively the de facto enemy on this mission. They sell fish, clay and wine, which we don't need because we can produce our own stuff. Here's Siwi Oasis. It sells barley and buys bricks. It also buys copper, which we can't make. Bahari Oasis sells bricks and buys things we can't make, just sell a bunch of food types. I don't know where the grain and figs came from. When we last played Baharia, there was excuse me, there wasn't any food types there apart from hunting. Pharaoh Oasis buys a little bit of pottery and some wood, but we can't make wood, they only sell nonsense. Interesting that they sell leopard skins. That's a form of luxury goods that is pretty much unique to Pharaoh Oasis. and I don't think that trade route is open very much that sells that item. So it's a very interesting rare luxury good. Yeah, let's get the music back. There we go, that's better. Wast sells clay and barley. They also buy potteries, that's a useful trade route. Mendifair buys beer, luxury goods and papyrus, and they also sell some food types and some pottery, which we don't need. What was up here? Tyre sells incense and wood and buys things we can't make. They buy grain, but that's not worth it. Biblos sells a bunch of stuff that we don't... Well, I mean, we need the wood, but can I not get wood from another trade partner? Apparently, we cannot import wood from any oases on this map, which is very interesting. So we're going to need to open up trade with someone that sells wood. I'm going to have to do it with someone that actually buys something. Tyre buys grain, which is worthless. And they buy something we can't even produce. Biblos buys something we can't make, so that's just a loss, so there's no point in that. And Kobe at least sells fish, wood and copper, and they buy at least chickpeas. It's a little bit worth more than grain, and they buy a lot of it, so I suppose we can go there. So the papyrus thing is a red herring on this map. Mendifair is the only people who buy it, and you can't use it. So there's no point in actually setting up a papyrus industry. Although it does make a bit of money, we are not going to go into a papyrus industry on this map. It's just too expensive. And if you think about the map in terms of the world, if you think about the map design in terms of where this city is on the world map, all the attacks are going to come from the left-hand side of the map. So we're not going to... If I go and build something over here, all that's going to happen is it's just going to get destroyed by the attack, because there is going to be an attack on this map. So I've got an idea of how to do this. We're going to have a housing block here and a smaller block up here. I'm not too sure how I'm going to do it, but just a bit of a block or something. I'm not too sure. And we will be selling chickpeas to Nkome. I know it's not worth a lot, but might as well. We don't have much export potential on this map. And we're going to basically sell off pottery because we will need to trade with Wast anyway to get barley. Seaway Oasis will close down at one point, but you can reopen them later. So just be aware of that. So yeah, not a lot of land, not a lot of trade route potential on this map. Only a little bit of food and some pottery, and a little bit of papyrus. So not a lot here. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and set up my housing block right here, and I'm going to come back in once we got that and the pottery industry all set up. Okay, so this is the city we're going to go with. So we're going to have a housing block right here. And it's going to just have as many houses as we can fit into it because, I mean, the highest level is only up modest apartment, which is the housing requirement we need to win this mission. Now, what we're going to go with is a large pottery industry. Now, I have calculated that it's 6.5 for 1 a dozen. You get 4,200 demons in export value from pottery to the two trade routes that buy it, so Wast and Pharaoh Oasis. And papyrus sells, you get a total of 4,000. However, the convenience factor is that we can set up the pottery without even crossing the Nile here, where there's not that much. And we could probably overproduce it and end up having a shit ton of stockpile. And it's a lot of effort to get that set up. I mean, clay pits are 48, and potters are 72, but the papyrus maker is 120, and the reed gatherer is 160. So that's 180 demons to set up one reed gatherer and one papyrus maker. And of course, you're going to have a lot more papyrus makers because you can supply quite a lot of papyrus makers with one reed gatherer. So in a way, the pottery and clay is a lot better because, I mean, it's needed and it's a good export at least. And it means we don't have to actually cross the Nile at all. Not right now anyway. Now we're going to have 6 grain farms and 3 chickpea farms. These chickpea farms are just going to be for export. Because I've also calculated that we can sell off all these chickpeas and make 1,000 demons. I know that doesn't seem a lot. It will pay for this trade route, and at least we will be able to import wood. And at least that will, just because we don't have a use for the chickpeas. Grain is clearly superior. I mean, you're always going to farm grain on a map like this where grain is available. And I've got plenty of space for it, like here and here, for just as much grain production as we need. So yeah, chickpeas are going to be pretty much for export. We're just going to have them stockpiled here in this one yard right next to our dock and shipwright. And I've also calculated by proper placement, if we have a dock here and a shipwright here, and then just properly plan out where we're going to put warships, we can get the full complement of warships here, but it is tight. It's very tight. And I'm not too sure if I'll build the 6th one at all, because we may not even have the money for it. Now, we did start with 10,000. Just below that tax rate, it's not necessary. We started with 10,000, or partly 80. 10,080, I think the 80 was for building this bridge, I think. Yeah, because the bridge will cost that amount to put it over that gap, I think. 69? Yeah, 69 or 70. So it probably was the cost of building that bridge, or something, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna also have a military request start very early. Now, it costs way too much to set up a military of infantry. Don't bother. It's like 240 to import. You would never get out of debt by doing that. It's like, I mean, you can import a lot of copper, but that's way too expensive. With very little export opportunities, there's no way we can do that. What we are going to do instead is just rush a shit ton of archers. There's an early troop request, and you only get one chance to fulfill it. It is to Pharaoh Oasis, I will tell you that right now. If you succeed, you just get a gift of something random, and it allows you to keep the pottery export there open. If you don't succeed, it doesn't make any difference. It will just shut that trade route. It's not like you need it anyway, but this is a good way of just getting the pottery export running as well. So we're going to rush on the recruiter and building up our military down here. Just a bunch of archer forces, as many as we can get, as quickly as we can. So we're just going to continue on. I'm going to get this housing block all filled out with as many houses as we can. And yeah, I'll just come back in later if anything of interest happens. We just need to get the pottery export flowing as quickly as we can before we basically run out of money. Okay, so the first harvest of grain and chickpeas has come in. Now, I'm not too sure how much grain we got, but we are going to just feed these people immediately with that grain. I've also been doing a bit of priority juggling, just to make sure that everything works the way it has. We've also gone straight into the military, where our first archers company has already got 5 people in it. And we're not academy training them, and we don't need to do that, so it's not a problem. So how much food is there going to be in here? Just short of 2,000, that's not too bad. And we're also going to have a little bit of chickpeas down here as well. And we will grow that very quickly as well. So how many chickpeas was that? 600, not too much, but that's not a problem. We're short quite a number of people. 32 is a lot at this early stage, but we have people continually moving in, which is the main point. And we're also going to just boost up our shrines. There's 2 more there. Like so, it just keeps them all nicely evolving. With just a little bit of food, we will be able to start moving things around. Now over here, this little appenditure here is for where we're going to have the recruiter and all that later, and also a bit of a bricks industry. We will be able to export bricks later, but I'm not going to do it right now because the pottery is a bit more useful to us than the bricks, because it only goes to one trade route, and we don't need barley yet either. Now we do need to worry about bricks. Right now our focus is on the pottery. Wax becomes the only source of barley later on anyway, so it's not a problem. We will find out about that later. But that's 7 archers. We've got quite a bit of money. We started with 10,000 and we're still spending through it, but we have very little time on this mission, so that's why I'm just rushing it a little bit. Now we're going to just put down these things first. I'm just going to calculate 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's long enough, so we're just going to put down this and then these associated things right here. And they will get stuff shortly, which is not a problem. There is a bit of a malaria risk here, so we are going to make sure that everyone's covered by apothecaries. Now, we're not going to evolve these guys right up to the top level. We don't need to do that. Not right now. Just as long as they are evolving and getting access to some food, that's all that matters, because that's giving us people. So we've now got unemployment. That's the main thing. And we've got half of a fort of archers, which is not too bad. Now we are going to just expand our clay pit production just a bit. I'm just going to check if I do that. So I can just stick a clay pit right there. And it doesn't affect anything because there's still going to be a dock and a shipwright right there. So that's not too bad. We'll start to get our first pottery in. With the additional clay pits, we will be able to overflow this quite quickly, get a lot of pottery in production. And that is going to need to just evolve just a little bit for a well. Like so. Now the requirements on this map seem very low. So it's obvious that we're not going to be needing to do too much on this map. We only need to import barley, basically. That's the only thing we need to import. The rest is just exports, apart from a little bit of wood, but that's not a priority right now. So we've got our first pottery in. I'm going to wait for that to develop a little bit more before we do anything. As these houses evolve, that will provide more people as well, which in turn provides more workers essentially. We're just going to put a bird right there. Now we are going to put down another chickpeas farm, and that's all the chickpeas we're going to be making anymore, and it'll just be overflow. We can't export that much. These work camps will be moved up here actually. Let's just do that now. Let's just do 2 of those, and then once they get activated I will just delete these and then replace this area with some statues. It doesn't really matter how far they evolve because we only require 5 of these models apartments, so it's not a concern. So we'll have 8 grain farms and 4 chickpeas. That's reasonably sufficient to support this city, I would think. Once this one gets access to employees, we will delete these 2. So yeah, our industries are going, our forts are all stacked, we're getting our military going because it is a military mission, and I'll come back in if anything of interest happens. Okay, what's this? Because Kyrene lusts for glory, we need to send 900 ingots of copper in 7 months to Kyrene. We're not going to do that because it doesn't make any difference. We're just going to demand an absolutely insane number of weapons, so we're not doing that. We are now starting to export pottery to Pharaoh Oasis. I've also gone ahead and moved the recruiter over here just to speed up archers' production because it'll just not take so long. So we've got a full company of archers. We're going to have the second one very soon. I did go into debt to get that going, but we got 3,000 rescue funds and we're now making that back quite nicely. So, and we're going to just put down another clay pit right there, just keep that going. And we're also going to do is the recruiter that was here, I'm going to move that over to be just chickpeas. We're just going to move that over and just accept all pottery right here, which is going to be fine. So we'll get the armies built up, which is going to be good. Hopefully we'll get 2 full forts, maybe a third, maybe half of a third one. I'm not too sure. But we're just going to keep on going, keep the gods happy, and we've got lots of unemployment. I think it's time we make good use of that unemployment. Let's put down... what does that equate to actually? 66, it's not a lot, but if we just put down 2 more potters and another clay pit there, that should be enough to just take that down a bit. Because we've got nothing really to employ them with, so I could just delete some houses and I'd probably just achieve the exact same thing. So hopefully we'll have enough archers by any requests that I know of. Then we'll start to work on exporting, and you're not getting your copper, don't worry. Then we'll start to work on maybe exporting chickpeas when the next harvest comes in, and start to work on importing wood because we are going to need to import wood very soon. So yeah, let's just keep on going and I'll come back in if anything of interest happens. Okay, so I've gone ahead and opened up the route to Encomium. We're now selling chickpeas. It's not really worth very much, but that's okay. Battle cries can be heard throughout Kyrene as they prepare to destroy the city. 24 months left to comply, we're not going to. Our pottery is going quite well. I did open up the trader to Encomium because we were going to get a lot of chickpeas, and that just allows us to satiate stockpiling pottery for a little while, so that's one of the main reasons. Now we're going to have plenty of archers. Hopefully 2 more will be producing, and we'll be able to fill up half of another company. What I'm also going to do is we're just going to slow down time just a fraction. We are going to put down a work camp. Well, we've got a work camp here, just realised we built it. And we're going to put down 2 more chickpea farms like so. That's going to be connected like so. The reason for that is because the amount of chickpeas we got from the 4 farms hasn't filled this up completely. And I did change this to accept a little bit of wood as well. So we want to just make sure that there is enough supply, and that will keep everything going quite nicely. Just put down that there. There we go. So I'll have a bit more chickpeas to sell next year, but we should have enough to sell at another 1100 2 times over, which should be fine. So that's 15 archers. Once the next archer is produced, we will have 2 full companies of archers, which is very quick. I'm surprised we were able to get that many so fast in only like, what's the 2nd game year? So not too bad. I'm not sure if we'll be able to sell any more pottery to Pharaoh, but that's not a problem. We will sell, we've got a bit of a employment issue, but that's not a major problem. We can just remove some we can just very easily just evolve some houses actually. Let's just check the gods just a very quick second. We're just going to do just a couple of shrines just to keep them happy. We don't want them getting upset with us at the last minute and destroying everything, because that's not going to be good. So we'll sell some chickpeas, which we did. They will buy up a bit more. And once that's that built, so let's just wait for them to buy just a little bit more, and I'll build down the final archers company. It's not really worth anything, but we are going to go into debt. That's not a problem. We're going to have 2 full archer companies, maybe a bit more of another. That's not a problem. The year will reset and Pharaoh will buy more the pottery rather. We're just going to go into a bit more debt and open up the trade to Wast. So we're now quite a bit in debt, but we've got all of our exports pretty much running. We've got pottery, we've got chickpeas. It's not a problem. We just need to stockpile more chickpeas to help Nkomi. That's not a problem. These trades have got quite a bit of reach. They were expanding down to there apparently. And that'll give us more people to come in, which will solve this problem. So yeah, let's just keep on going. I'll come back in if anything of interest happens. Okay, what's this? Heed the battle cry, for the Egyptian army is engaged in a fierce battle. Imperious Pharaoh demands that you send troops to the distant city of Pharaoh Oasis to enter into the fray. Dispatch troops in 7 months. Now I do have a lot of archers. I'm going to actually wait for this archer company to just about fill up because it's about 2 troops away from doing that. And I'd rather send 3 full companies of archers, at least that has a marginally better chance of succeeding, rather than 2 and a bit. I'm actually glad that I'm actually able to get that many archers so fast, and it's only the 2nd game year. It just shows what a bit of micromanagement and future knowledge of the mission does. It gives you that opportunity to get those troops. So 2 more troops from this recruiter, we'll fill that up and then we'll send everyone off. We've also got a bunch of chickpeas willing to be sold. All 1200 will be sold. We've also built out a few extra chickpea farms here and there, just to make sure we had a nice large supply. They will import wood first, because I have told them to go and import wood, and that will give Wast plenty of time to sell out. Oh, they've already sold out, so we can't sell out any more pottery. So we'll just continue to build up the pottery. I might even expand this a bit more, because we do need a bit more pottery production. Yes, we're going to send it off. We are going into debt because of the wood imports, but that's not a problem. That's 15 archers. So 1 more archer will be coming out of here very soon. There it is. So we'll send off all the troops and they'll come back in if we succeed at Pharaoh Oasis. Okay, what's this? Byblos is in need of some food. 600 jars of chickpeas in 10 months. Now we don't have that, but we will get a massive harvest very soon. Just before the 10 months are up, we will be able to send that off. Now we are just slowly digging ourselves out of debt. Every time we make some money, I'm pretty much just putting down a warship, because we are going to need those warships fairly soon. The copper request is nearly about to expire, and I suspect a battle is going to happen soon. Now I have gone ahead and just put down some entertainment. These guys are going to need to evolve because they do, and we are short on workers now from that. So that's primarily the reason we're evolving our house. And we are getting enough chickpeas to sell out, but I would rather not export any more chickpeas for a while. It's not making us enough money. Now our troops are still abroad apparently. Still off fighting at Pharaoh Oasis. Hopefully they do fine, because I don't really want to lose Pharaoh. That's still quite a bit of money. That's about 1,000 in profit, so it's going to dent us quite significantly and set us back a little while, which is not too good. Now you said 1,300 out of 1,500. There is pottery there, but it seems as if you don't want to. And now you're going to go and buy some pottery. That's not a problem. So we'll build up 5 warships. I'm not going to cross the Nile and set up a 6th one here. There's no point. It's kind of pointless right now. We don't need to do that. Right now, also, our additional requirements are to just expand our pottery production. We don't seem to have enough clay, but I don't have the money to do that right now. Boss is going to buy up 800 pottery. That gives us money. So we're just keeping ourselves afloat. We've got enough grain coming in. It's not a problem anymore. Troops will come back soon. They're marching back. We only lost 1 across each of them, so we've succeeded at defending Pharaoh. So I'll come back in once we've found out what we've done at Pharaoh. Okay, so our kingdom rating went up for sending off the troops to Pharaoh Oasis, which is good because it has been plummeting from poor, not paying the tribute. But that's only because we have been importing some wood and building a lot, which is not a problem. Now we're going to have the chickpeas coming in very shortly, which will fulfill Byblos' request of chickpeas soon. Hopefully we'll have enough chickpeas to just sell off all of that as well. That is 800, so we'll just send that off right now. And then all of the remaining chickpeas will go to export to Encome once these guys have come down. We'll just set that to export very soon. Got enough grain. I might put down 2 more grain farms and then that will be that. We don't really need any much more grain, to be honest. So let's just set this to export 2,400. We do need to import a little bit of wood because we have run out because we're not building the 5th one. So let's just import 200 away. And actually, let's just make sure that this exports fully, but never mind. Great misfortune has befallen the troops because we have lost its seaway oasis, so that's not a problem. Your kingdom has improved, and Encome is going to give us 11 weapons. That's actually very useful. Although pretty pointless at this stage of the game. Where do I put these weapons? Can we export weapons? No. So I'm just going to have to put down a infantry fort somewhere and just use up the 11 weapons because we can't make use of them. You might get gifts of luxury goods that you can sell. I think Bahariya Oasis is a buyer of luxury goods. They are. But apart from that, not very useful because we don't need the weapons. But we will sell off the chickpeas whenever someone comes down to buy them. And yeah, so at this point we've saved, we've done the hard bit. The hard bit is actually to rush for that request for Pharaoh Oasis. You don't have to keep them open, but I have calculated that they do give you about 1,500 demons in profit for the pottery export. So it would have cut into our finances quite a bit. We would have been down 1,000 in debt already from not having it. So yeah, we'll accept that weapons gift and we'll trade up some infantry which will have no use in the city. And yeah, let's just keep on going. Okay, so because Egypt lost a battle to our enemies at Seaway Oasis, the trade route has shut down. They were, there's that gift, thank you. They were going to sell us barley and buy bricks, but we didn't really need that trade route. We got enough export potential out of Pharaoh Oasis and Wast, alongside with a little bit of chickpea export to Encome, that we didn't really need to set up bricks. We will be setting up a brick industry later, but that's not the priority right now. We have put down another yard to accept chickpeas because we do need them, which is fine. Now we will now start to import wood because they have bought up all chickpeas. This will drive us into debt, but that's not a problem. So yeah, let's just keep on going. We've lost Seaway Oasis. We have saved Pharaoh. And yeah, battle's going to probably come here very soon because this is about to expire. Okay, so because you knowingly courted danger when you refused to send 900 ingots of copper to Cairene, or Karnak, or whatever they call it in the briefing, the trade route to Cairene has been shut down. And because I sent 600 jars of chickpeas to Byblos, Encome is going to give us 5 weapons. It's quite useful. So how many do we have in stockpile? 14 plus 2, so we can basically outfit 1 full fort with the 3 weapons that we've had. So we didn't even need to make weapons by sheer chance. So let's just check. I think we'll spot up everything they have. So we're going to sell off 1,100 chickpeas, well the 1,200 chickpeas to Encome, and then import a bunch of wood. Now if you go to the furthest one, you are, which is not very helpful. Right, so you've bought up the 1,100 chickpeas, which is not too good, which is okay, rather. Oh, I need to set that to accept 1/4. There we go. So that's actually helped. So we've got that going, so that's going to get our boats in. This final boat is all we need. We'll have 5 warships, and the trade route to Cairene has closed, pardon me. What's more, an army of the sea people is approaching, and we'll reach the city in 8 months. So not too good. We're going to be invaded very soon, halfway through this year, by August. I'll just come back in once we're near that invasion, because that's all we've got to wait for. Okay, so the army of the sea people are going to be here in 1 month bent on conquest. We have caught quite a bit of money, and this attack is fortuitously timed that we're going to have all this open land, water space rather, to fight them. And it's going to be a small sea people attack from the north, and then there's another attack that comes from over here. But we're only going to focus on the sea attack because it's the more dangerous. So we're getting enough grain in, we're getting enough chickpeas as well we can sell out to Encome most of the time of the year. I might build some additional chickpea farms somewhere and use that to boost our our sales, because we can sell out for most of the year, but not in one fair swoop without excess, if you know what I mean. And I want to get it to that excess level, but I think we should have enough now that we've got a bigger stockpile, but it's going to be fine. And we've got the attack here, so I don't think it's actually a very big attack, but we're going to just speed through it anyway. Okay, another attack from the sea people. Let's just have a look at that before we continue to speed through this battle, which is pretty much won at this point. It is a land attack from over here. Luckily, we have pretty much nothing over here, so it really isn't a problem. We don't have to worry about the sea people, and we've just defeated the warships. So, a little bit difficult because you don't have much space. You've only got this bit of land here where the attack happens, and then you've got to sort of maneuver and zigzag all around. It's kind of difficult because you don't have much space. But we defeated the sea people. That's pretty much the only attack you have to worry about, is that sea people, that sea attack. This land attack over here, you don't need to worry about. Of course, if you have built something here, it is just going to get destroyed. Unless you manage to build a transport wharf and send troops over, which is a complete waste, given that the sea people is the second strongest enemy of the game. So we're not going to fight them. So that's just through the battle, and all I have to do now is make some money, get out of this rather big hole that we're in, and expand our population to meet our goals. We do have to boost our prosperity up anyway, but prosperity is a meaningless target given that our goal is modest pirates, which will hit that target easily. Once these sea people... pardon me, folks. Once these sea people have gone, I will just set up a papyrus industry and start to export that. So yeah, let's just keep on going, and I'll come back in if anything of interest happens. At this point, we just need to boost our city's coffers before we can do anything else. Okay, so in Kobe it's in need of some grain. We have plenty of that. Over here I'm just setting up the area for what is going to be basically our population booster. We have met pretty much all the other goals. I'm now just at that point where I am, just building everything that I need. Now, let's just see, are they irrigated? They are not irrigated. We're going to just exploit that little issue where I can just do that. And it should count as irrigated very soon. You're irrigated by something. I'm not sure what you're irrigated by, but we'll just do a little bit of irrigation there. You will now be irrigated, that's fine. So we've got a few extra grain farms just to make sure we've got enough grains going around. We're actually just going to have you go and get grain. I'm not sure if I'll feed these people. I probably will, because we are going to need the workers. Now what we're going to have up here is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're not going to have much brick supply. I don't think anyone of our current trade routes buys bricks. Let's just have a quick look. No, you're buying pottery. You buy things we can't make. I'll talk about the papyrus in a minute, don't worry. Yes, we can only export chickpeas to Nkome and no one buys bricks. We are just going to open up this trade route to Men Nefer, and we're just going to sell papyrus because I have gone ahead. And since there's no more attacks, I've just gone ahead and set up a very small papyrus area. Just one reed gatherer and 7 of these. Is producing more than enough papyrus. We don't need to produce that much. All we need to make sure is that we produce 1200 before the next, before a trade boat comes through. That's all we need. As long as we've got 1200 stockpile, we don't need to worry about that. I've also gone ahead and provided pottery to these guys, so we're ready to evolve them up. Now, I am going to have to delete some of this industry over here in this corner, just simply because we are going to need to supply an area with beer to win this mission. Now, alternatively, I could just set up a disconnected area and not trade with Wast to get barley. I could even do that up here, but we will see there. Also, I put down an inventory fort just to get rid of the 16 weapons that we had, just because it was just getting in the way a little bit. We now need clay and straw. The straw is going to come from the farms, which is not a problem, and I think we should still have enough space. Yeah, we've got like one more of these. I can get one more of these in, which is not a problem. Now, money is still a problem. We're not making too much. Is Mennefair just about to come through? You are Mennefair. You're going to buy up a bunch of papyrus. We've got more than enough stockpiling, so I don't really need to expand this industry too much. I mean, look there. 1100, we've got like another 1100 ready to be sold. So our money problems should be sorted now. We just need to boost the population, get the culture up, which is apparently covered by putting that there. I don't think it actually has to be active, so we'll just provide everyone with dentist access. Is there space to put a dentist here? Let's just have a quick look of the dentist overlay. I don't think I can fit a dentist here, but what we're going to do is just delete the statue and replace it with a dentist. Because we don't need to evolve all these houses, that will do. I mean, that house in the back can be devolved by the farms, it's not a problem. Let us just set this to accept straw, just to make sure everyone gets off the floodplain, because we want them off of there. I think we've set off it. We've got enough grain farm production. I don't think we're going to need too many more straw farms. So let's just have you there. You can accept straw instead, because I want you to go and accept bricks. Yeah, so we're pretty much set. Our population's nearly there. We just need to, yeah. We don't actually have to provide dancers to anyone. We just have to put down a pavilion somewhere that counts. Very hard. You might have to provide actual dancer coverage, but we shall see. You've got pottery. How much papyrus have we sold? 2,200, so someone else has come through and bought some more papyrus. We should have a bit more to sell to Mennefair, who's here. And there's enough space here that we should be able to provide this up to the limit very quickly. So yeah, our money problems are solved. We just need to boost the population just a little bit more, start supporting some beer, everything else is met. It's just population, really. I mean, I could cut down on this just to make sure we don't win too quickly. So yeah, let's just keep on going. We're nearly at the end of the mission, folks. Okay, so just before I came back in, we got a gift of wood from Encomi from sending off the grain in town. Now, we don't have a single use for wood in this city. We've already got 5 fully healed warships, and we don't have a shipwright. We've got no other use for wood because we're not building a monument. So all I've done is I've just told this to get exported, so we're just going to sell 700 wood off to an oasis that should actually have wood. It'll give us a bunch of money because we don't have any use for this right now. So that's just a good way of using up a resource that we don't need, and it's worth something. And meanwhile, I'm starting to cut back on our pottery industry. We don't really need that much pottery export going now. So I did have a clay pit and a couple of potters up here. I've deleted them, and this is going to make way for a couple of breweries. We're going to have 1, 2, 3. Let's see. I could actually just straighten this up a little bit. Let's just change that. Let's put a clay pit there. We can have another potter right there. That's actually not too bad. We can get away with that. We'll just put down an extra firehouse there and an architect's post right there. Now we are short on some workers. That's not a problem because we are evolving this little block up here. Now I have deleted the pavilion just to make sure that we don't win too quickly. We're just going to do a couple of statues here now. We don't really need these guys fully evolving. We're nearly at the target population anyway. We've got another 130 million to go. And once these all evolve, we should be fine. And if we just spend some of that newfound money on plazas, these will all evolve quite nicely as well. Chickpeas, take them. And this yard here that was accepting chickpeas and wood is now going to become our barley and beer place. So we're just going to stockpile bricks, just in case someone asks you. It doesn't make sense to provide that as an item when it was previously exportable to Seaweed Oasis. Maybe they will rebuild and open up trade or something, I'm not too sure. Anyway, we pretty much won the mission. We just need to keep the culture from going up to above 25 and we should be fine. So let's just keep on going. We're nearly at the end of the mission. I'll come back in if anything of interest happens. Okay, so to honour the glory of Egypt, Seaweed Oasis is asking for some bricks. Good thing I set up a brick industry because I knew that event was going to happen. I know that the Seaweed Oasis trade route reopens. We also got another gift of something completely useless. We were asked to send some chickpeas off to Encomi. I think I already showed you that. We got a gift of copper out of it. I do remember the Seaweed Oasis buys copper. So let's just speed this up. We've got nothing really to do with our target population. The only thing that's stopping us from winning is basically culture and our housing, which isn't a problem right now. We still can't get rid of these chickpeas, which is a problem. But maybe we will get rid of them in time. You guys, you're off to go and buy chickpeas. Good. Just get rid of these chickpeas. I don't need them anymore. Housing up here is all nice and stabilised. We're not going to go any higher than this. There really is no point. We've got unemployment. So what I'm actually going to do is just cut back on some lower level housing. Like so. I'll just do that. Now you're getting access to entertainment because of this guy who's wandering down. But we're just going to cut back on housing. We don't really need it. And of course we are going to evolve a block into some higher level houses. We don't need this much housing, so we'll just delete some. And it'll curb our unemployment, which is what we want to do right now. Papyrus is going quite well. How much have we sold? 900, right? We're not making as much as I would like, so let's just extend this road. You've got enough reeds. You're actually outstripping the supply of reeds, which is not too good. Let's just put down a second reed gatherer. And just, you know... 1, 2, 3... You know, just there. This is actually a meaningful use of the employees at this point, so we are just going to do that. I know this has caused that to default, but we're going to just make this place look a bit more respectable with a large statue. I know this is not going to produce a lot of papyrus, but it really isn't a problem right now. You are men of fair to buy up all papyrus, so... I mean, we've managed to get back to our starting price. We're not actually taxing anyone. We are just pretty much making that from exports, not building anything. And the wages are covered by exports. You don't need tax on this map. It's not necessary. What's our unemployment now? We have some employment things, but so we can just put these houses back. And it doesn't really matter at this point. So let's just speed this up. Tyre is in need of papyrus. It's a good thing we actually have that industry running. We can just make that. And because we helped Seaweed Oasis with their project, we can now trade with them again. So they buy bricks and copper. So you're just going to buy up the bricks. And you can buy pretty much that useless copper that we don't even need. There you go. So we'll let Seaweed Oasis buy up some bricks just to show that we do have that as an export. And I'll just come back in when we're ready to start making beer. But I've got to get this yard empty of chickpeas first. Pretty much finished the mission there, folks. I'll be back once we're ready to move on. Okay, so that's it done with the mission. So we've got our beer supply ready to go and distribute to this housing block. It is going to set our unemployment skyrocketing, but that's not a problem. What's our prosperity at? It's at the required level. I demolished a couple of houses up here, just put it down a town palace. Beautifies the area and just gets rid of some of the unemployment. So we have sold bricks to Seaweed. Good. That's also a good use of the unemployment. Now, of course, once we sent off that stuff to Tyre, they gave us luxury goods. No use for that in the city, so just export that to Men of Fair or whoever buys it. Baharia buys it. Who else buys luxury goods? Well, Men of Fair does, so does Baharia, so if you get them, just send them off. So we pretty much won this mission by not exporting papyrus at the beginning and just selling pottery and chickpeas. And training up archers is all we needed to do to meet that distant battle request. Just set up a housing block here, put down as many houses as possible for going papyrus. And just set up pottery and chickpeas is pretty much the way to go. And you can actually get a substantial chickpea harvest if you actually just focus on chickpeas and only a little bit of grain. Because you can sell 4,000 chickpeas a year. And that's another 1,000. I mean, 1,000 is worth something. So all I'm going to do, I also put down a dance school just to get rid of unemployment as well. So we're just going to put that down there. Speed up time. You're not going to get access to anything, but that's not a problem. So got our kingdom rating. Also, the kingdom rating just randomly went up for no reason. Just as this is good news, you've become more popular. Great. So yeah, we've got everything met, all of our goals. All I have to do is just provide beer to one of these blocks. You can have your chickpeas. It's just going to give me something I don't want. We're stockpiling straw for absolutely zero reason. I don't think anyone buys it yet. Straw is buyable to Kyrene, but there's no point in that, so it's not a problem. I deleted my shipwright, just replaced it with another dock, just to clear some of the backlog. It just helps quite a bit. And we're just selling papyrus and whatever to Men of Fair. One thing to note is this area is actually disconnected. There's a one tile gap between this ferry landing here. This side is connected, but this side is not. And doing that just allows these guys to only buy papyrus. If I had this connected, they'd be going across here, time wasting and just being annoying, basically. So we've got the beer. It comes from seaweed, that barley, as well as wast. Doesn't really matter where you get it. You can get far more than enough barley on this map to supplant the requirements of the city. You don't have a sit-in house, so you only need, what is it, 800 beer at that. That's all you need. The rest of it you can export if you want to, but I don't advise it. We're going to win this mission now by just telling this guy to go and buy, just save. We're just going to tell this bazaar to go and buy beer, and that will evolve all these houses instantly, and we will just win. Let's just have a look at this. So we make 14,000 a year. Now that might be a little biased because of the fact we did sell a bit of copper, but that's not a problem. Tribute is about 2,200. Imports are pretty much nothing because the only thing you have to import is just a teeny little amount of barley. Early on, the imports will be expensive because you will have to import wood from Encomi. You could import the wood from Pi-Yer or Byblos, but neither of these trade routes actually buy something that's worth selling. Grain is worse than chickpeas, and Pi-Yer doesn't really do anything else, so it would just be a pointless trade route. You're better off with Encomi because at least they buy something and they are going to be making you money. Yeah, so not a lot of water trade routes needed to win this mission, so just focus on the pottery and the chickpeas, and that's all you need to survive. Later on you will be able to, excuse me, you can export some bricks to Seaweed Oasis, but that's not a problem. And you've got enough farm, I mean there's far more than enough farmland on this map to support the needs of the city, mostly grain, and the chickpeas can just be for export and requests and the like. So you have bought beer, and you're just going to evolve all of our houses straight up to the top level to win the mission. There we go, that was Pi-Yer. Quite a difficult map because of the fact that the map is so small and the requirements are so high. But once you get through that tough little bit of the first 5 years up to the invasion, once you're past the invasion, it's a breeze. There's no more events, just a few requests for useless gifts. Let us proceed to finish Pi-Yer and the first mission of the Ancient Conquerors campaign.
The sun has lifted the storm cloud that had been over Egypt. Great is the joy. The vile chief of the Libu and his allies from the sea have fled under cover of the night. Their ill-conceived plan to settle along our shores has been smashed. It is indeed fortunate for us that so many of their women and children are now our shameful captives.
Indeed, and that's quite dark. They got captured apparently. I know it showed the game in-game that they retreated because they were the sea people, but they were captured apparently. So that got quite dark, but we have saved Egypt and kept it safe from the sea people. For the last time, we're not going to be fighting against them. So culture was 35, pretty much the highest you could go. You can't get mortuaries, which is not a problem. Prosperity, not too difficult to meet. That's pretty much the highest you can go. Probably it would go up to 40 or 42 if I had evolved all the houses and not provided entertainment to one of the blocks, the pavilion. All in all, that was a fairly simple mission. Completed on hard. So that was Pi-Yer. If you want to go to the next mission in this campaign, which is Michdol, just click the card on the screen and it'll take you there. From me, Sajuuk, that's going to be that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye now.